Welcome to Trending Today podcast. Everything you missed today in 15 minutes. So this Conor McGregor situation, wow, it's really spiraling, isn't it?
Yeah, spiraling is a good word. I mean, from celebrated MMA fighter to this, the court's decision finding him liable for sexually assaulting Nikita Hand is massive.
Absolutely massive. And the fallout? Immediate and pretty brutal. A total boycott of his alcohol brands. Proper No 12, the whiskey gone. Forged Irish Stout? Poof.
Gone like that. I'm honestly surprised how fast it's all happening, It's not just small shops either. The Dublin Airport Authority, they pulled his stuff from both Dublin and Cork airports.
Right? The DAA, big player. It's not just about sales, it's a statement. Corporate social responsibility. They're like, we're not touching this, which speaks volumes.
Total reputational risk. And other retailers are following suit, right? I heard Musgraves, SuperValu, Centra, all those, they've already yanked his products.
Yep. BWG Foods too. SPAR, EUROSPAR, you name it. It's a full-blown retail exodus. Nobody wants to be associated with this.
Even Proximo Spirits, they own proper No 12. They're distancing themselves. No more McGregor's face on their bottles. Damage control, for sure.
Smart, though, painful as it must be. They're like, we need to save what we can. It's a big financial hit, but better than total collapse, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. And then you have the Rape Crisis Network, Ireland. They're urging everyone to boycott him. They're like, don't profit from this.
Strong message. It's about more than money now. It's a moral imperative they're talking about. So switching gears, literally, let's talk about those Dolphins, huh? Freezing in Green Bay.
Oh, man, tough loss. But was it just a loss, Jordan Brooks didn't hold back, called the team soft. Straight up.
Yeah, he thinks the cold got to them. Said it messed with their game, which, ouch. But, I mean, the stats kind of back him up, right?
They do. NFL Next Gen stats showed a ton of missed tackles, which translated to big yardage for the Packers. Cold fingers, maybe?
Cold everything, I guess. Reduced grip, less flexibility. But also, did they prepare enough? You got to acclimatize to those conditions, right?
Right. You can't just show up for Miami and expect to perform in the freezing cold. It's a whole different ballgame. So, lots to unpack there.
So, the DAA Dublin Airport Authority, they're in on this boycott too, huh? Big move.
Huge. Dublin and Cork airports. No more Proper 12, no more Forged Irish Stout. Gone.
Talk about a statement, right? They're essentially saying, we don't care how much money we might lose. This is wrong. It's a moral stance almost.
Yeah, totally. Corporate social responsibility in action. They're not just protecting their image. They're taking a stand, which is powerful.
It's a ripple effect, right? It's like one retailer pulls out, and then another, then another. Pretty soon it's a tidal wave, and nobody wants to get swept away.
Exactly. The DAA, they're a major player. Think of the foot traffic in those airports. International travelers, everyone sees this. It sends a clear message.
It's a domino effect, really. The DAA sets a precedent, a big one, and suddenly everyone's scrambling. Nobody wants to be the last one holding the bag, so to speak.
Yeah, the reputational damage is just too significant. It's like 1 minute you're stalking Proper 12, the next you're toxic by association. Not a good look.
Exactly. Musgrave's massive retailer, right? SuperValu, Centra, all those stores. They pulled his products immediately.
Oh, really? All of them? Wow. That's a big chunk of the market share right there. Gone.
Gone. And BWG Foods too. Spar, Eurospar, all those stores. It's a full-on retail exodus. Like, get this stuff out of here.
Yeah, it's not just Ireland either, is it? I heard UK retailers are doing the same. Major ones too.
It's international. It's like McGregor's brand is radioactive now. Touch it and you get burned. Nobody wants that.
It's a powerful statement, right? These retailers are effectively saying we prioritize our values over profit, even if it means a short-term financial hit.
So it's not just the smaller retailers, right? Even the big players are turning their backs on McGregor. Proximo Spirits, they own Proper 12. They're distancing themselves too.
Yeah? I hadn't heard that. Wow. That's significant. They're basically saying, we'll take the financial hit, but we can't be tied to this anymore. Smart, but ouch.
Smart, definitely. Long-term strategy versus short-term pain. They're thinking about the future of the brand, right? Got to protect that.
Absolutely. They're cutting him loose. No more McGregor's face on their bottles, I imagine. Damage control, pure and simple.
Total damage control. They're like, we need to save what we can of this brand. It's a calculated move. Cold, but necessary. It shows just how toxic this whole situation has become for McGregor's image.
It really does. I mean, Proximo Spirits, they're not some small-time operation. They're a major player in the spirits industry. For them to make this call, That speaks volumes.
It's a huge hit for them, financially, no doubt. But long term, probably the best move. They're looking at the bigger picture, right?
Oh, absolutely. They had to. Had to. The damage to their own reputation if they didn't cut ties? Unthinkable.
Exactly. It's bigger than just losing money on Proper 12. It's about what they stand for as a company, values and all that.
Yep. It sends a message to their investors, to other retailers, to the public. We don't tolerate this. Period.
And then you have the Rape Crisis Network Ireland, right? They're calling for a full boycott. Everyone, they say, should drop McGregor's products.
Yeah, I saw that. Powerful stuff. They're like, don't profit from this. It adds another layer to the whole thing, right?
It's not just about one company's decision anymore. It's about societal values. It's about what's acceptable and what's not.
Exactly. The RCNI is drawing a line in the sand. They're saying this behavior has consequences that go far beyond the courtroom, far beyond.
It's a moral imperative, they're arguing. No retailer, no one should be profiting from a brand associated with this. It's a powerful statement. Really powerful.
It really is. It puts the pressure on everyone still carrying his products, you know? It forces them to examine their own values, makes them ask, are we okay with this?
It's bigger than just dollars and cents, isn't it? It's about doing what's right. The RCNI is really driving that point home.
They are. It's a powerful message to corporations, to everyone, really. Profiting off someone accused of this, it's morally questionable at best.
Exactly. They're saying, look, this is not just a business decision, it's a moral one. And that's a tough position to argue against.
It really is. It puts businesses in a tough spot, but it's the right spot. They need to be held accountable. So, moving on, did you catch that Dolphins game?
Brutal, right? Freezing in Green Bay. Tough loss.
Tough is an understatement. Jordan Brooks, Dolphins linebacker, he didn't mince words after the game, you know? Called the team soft.
Oh, yeah? I missed that. Soft, huh? Ouch. What do you mean by that?
He basically said the cold got to them, messed with their heads, their game. Which, I mean, I get it, but damn.
Yeah, that's harsh. But were they really that affected by the weather? I mean, it's football. It gets cold.
Well, the stats kind of back Brooks up. NFL Next Gen Stats, they showed a ton of missed tackles by the Dolphins, which, translates to big yardage for Green Bay.
So, cold fingers, literally fumbling the ball?
Maybe. Reduced grip, less flexibility, it all adds up. But it's also about preparation, right? Did they acclimatize enough? You can't just fly in from Miami and expect to perform in freezing temperatures.
Right. It's a whole different ball game. Totally different.
Yeah, you got to be prepared. Physically, mentally. Clearly, the Dolphins weren't. So, yeah, a tough loss, but maybe a valuable lesson learned?
So, that Dolphins game rough, huh? More than just a loss, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was a mess. And not just in terms of the scoreboard. The post-game commentary, oof.
Oh, yeah? What happened? Spill the tea.
Jordan Brooks, linebacker, he basically called the team soft. Straight up.
Soft. Wow. Strong words. What's the context there?
He's saying the cold got to them. Mentally, physically, the whole 9 yards. Like they let the weather dictate their game. Which, I mean, it was cold, but...
But it's Green Bay in winter, right? It's going to be cold. You got to be prepared for that.
Exactly. That's Brooks' point. He's like, we weren't tough enough, mentally or physically. Ouch.
So Brooks called the team soft, huh? That's harsh. But is there any truth to it? I mean, did the cold really impact their game that much?
Well, yeah, the stats seem to back him up, at least to some degree. NFL Next Gen Stats, they showed a lot of missed tackles by the Dolphins. A lot.
Missed tackles? How many are we talking about here? Enough to make a real difference.
Enough to give Green Bay a significant yardage advantage. And in a close game, that can be decisive, right?
Right. So, is he saying they were literally fumbling the ball because their fingers were frozen? Is that it?
Well, he didn't say that specifically, but it's a factor, isn't it? Reduced grip, less flexibility in the cold. It all adds up. It affects your reaction time, your ability to hold onto the ball, everything.
I see. So it's not just about being soft, it's about the physiological impact of the cold? Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also about preparation, right? Did they acclimatize properly? You can't just show up from Miami and expect to play at your best in sub-zero temperatures. It takes adjustment.
True. You got to prepare for those conditions. Physically, mentally, it's a different game. Maybe Brooks is pointing to a larger issue of lack of preparation?
Could be. He's essentially saying they weren't ready for the challenge on multiple levels. Physically, they weren't adapted to the cold, and mentally, they let it get to them. That's the soft part, I think.
So, Brooks is calling them soft. But these next-gen stats, they're painting a different picture, right? It's not just about toughness, it's about physiology.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to say soft, but cold weather genuinely impacts performance. Grip strength, flexibility, everything suffers.
Think about it catching a ball with numb fingers? Impossible, practically. And tackling? Forget about it. You lose that split-second reaction time.
Right? Your muscles tighten up, your range of motion decreases. It's science. It's not about willpower. It's about your body literally not functioning optimally.
It's like trying to run in quicksand. You're putting in the effort, but the environment is working against you.
Exactly. So while Brooks's soft comment might sting, there's a physiological reality here that can't be ignored. The cold affects everyone, even elite athletes.
So Brooks is calling them soft, but these next-gen stats, they're telling a different story, aren't they? It's more nuanced than just toughness.
Yeah, way more nuanced. I mean, cold weather really does mess with your physiology. Grip strength, flexibility, it all goes downhill fast.
Think about trying to catch a ball with numb fingers. Nearly impossible, let alone tackling someone. You lose that crucial split-second reaction time. Everything's just slower.
Right? Your muscles tighten up, your range of motion decreases. It's basic science. It's not a matter of willpower. It's about your body literally not functioning at its peak. Not even close.
It's like trying to run through thick mud. You're putting in the effort, but the conditions are fighting against you every step of the way.
Perfect analogy. So yeah, while Brooks's soft comment might sting a little, there's a real physiological element here that can't be ignored.
Exactly. The cold affects everyone, even elite athletes. It's not about being soft, it's about adapting, or failing to adapt in this case. Which brings us to a preparation.
Right. Did the Dolphins do enough to prepare for these conditions? They knew it was going to be cold in Green Bay. It's not exactly a secret.
Exactly. It's Green Bay in winter. You got to acclimatize. You got to train in similar conditions, adjust your game plan, the whole shebang.
Yeah, did they practice with cold weather gear? Did they adjust their warm-up routine? These things make a difference, a big difference.
It's like showing up for a marathon having only trained on a treadmill. You're in for a rude awakening. Your body's just not ready for the real thing.
Exactly. So maybe Brooks' soft comment isn't just directed at their in-game performance, but also at their lack of preparation. Maybe he's frustrated that they weren't ready for the challenge, mentally or physically.
Could be. It's like he's saying they didn't take the challenge seriously enough. They underestimated the impact of the cold, and they paid the price. Literally.
It's a tough lesson to learn, for sure. But hey, that's the NFL. Gotta be ready for anything. And that's all the time we have for today's show, folks.
Thanks for tuning in to Trending Today podcast. We appreciate you spending part of your day with us. Catch us tomorrow for another 15 minutes of everything you missed today. Stay trendy.
See ya.